2024 was another record year of growth for video games made for grown-ups. There were more flavors and genres than ever before, and as far as I can tell, I think I looked at around 3,000 different titles over the course of the year. In the last month, we've looked at the top games from DL Site, Patreon, and Steam, and now it's time to add everything up from these and other platforms like itch and GOG, and present to you what the best games of 2024 were. Like in previous years, this video will be broken into 10 categories. Top romance game, top NTR game, top harem game, top LGBTQIA+ game, top monster game, best girl, best art in a game, best music in a game, my favorite game, and then game of the year. This year, however, I'm also going to talk about other games that were close to winning in many of these categories. I think the reason why I'm doing this will become apparent by the end of the video. As always, all links can be found for free on my Patreon. I can't think of any better way to ring in the new year than to talk about the most awesome games of 2024, so please feel free to share what you loved playing most over the past year. First up is Top Romance Game and Chasing Sunsets. While the popularity of visual novels may be on the decline, they are still the absolute best medium for a story-focused experience. And while Chasing Sunsets may be a more typical tale of love, loss, and redemption, it does a spectacular job pulling you in and making you care about the characters. Similarly, Bear Witness and Living with Sister Monochrome Fantasy also do an amazing job making you care about the people you meet. All three are amazing, but if you are looking for more of a pure romance, absolutely check out Chasing Sunsets. Available for PC, Mac, SteamOS, and Linux on Steam, Patreon, and itch.io. Next up is everyone's favorite and never controversial top NTR game. While this term seems to have more and more flavors being attributed to it, I've tried to stay true to the core ideas of struggle, loss, and longing. And the winner this year, Sexbot, does a great job juggling these themes while still providing players the hope that they could possibly still win in the end. If you enjoyed that idea, make sure to check out Arrival of the Goddess and Armored Suit Solgante as well. While all three of these games have potential happy endings, I think we know why most people enjoy this flavor. Sexbot is available for PC, Mac, SteamOS, and Linux on Steam, Patreon, and itch.io. And now we're at Top Harem Game. One of my biggest issues with the harem flavor is that so many harems just have the main character interacting with the love interests. And those love interests rarely, if ever, interact with each other. This can be really immersion breaking. However, this year's winner, Subverse, spends a huge portion of the game with the various waifus bickering, brawling, and bonding with each other. Like, the game even passes the Bechdel test. What kind of self-respecting harem game does that? Seriously though, this is one of the most intimate and immersive harems I've ever seen in a game, adult or otherwise. Subverse is available for PC on Steam and GOG. Next up is Top LGBTQI+ Game, and this year's winner, Paradise. We've seen increasing crackdowns by Steam, Patreon, and YouTube on this combination of flavors. So this was definitely a tougher year for fans. I'm pretty sure my femboy roommate would have won this year if it hadn't been for Steam banning it at the end of Next Fest. Obscura was also a fantastic game that I highly recommend, even if it doesn't have any explicit content. As for Paradise, if you enjoy otome games and psychological horror, you are going to have a fun time. Available for PC, Mac, SteamOS, and Linux on Steam, but you will need the patch from Jast. So we have now reached the point of this video where serious problems emerge in my format with Top Monster Game. Subverse has literal hours of magnificent monster mating and mayhem. Yeah, it doesn't do a great job integrating that into the rest of the game, but it does appear that the majority of people who love the monster flavor are very, very vocal about their love of Subverse. I could have gone with Future Fragments or The Pilgrimage, as those are much more exclusive in their monster focus compared to Subverse, but when it comes to the scope of monsters and range of interactions, no other game even comes close. Like, I'm pretty sure Subverse would win Top Monster Game even if it was just Pandora and cutscenes. But you also get to wage war with your favorite, or at least most efficient, Mantics as you fight to save the galaxy. Subverse is still available for PC on Steam and GOG. And now we're to one of my favorite categories, Best Girl. This is the person or character that has done the most to make our industry better over the past year. In August of 2024, Taro Yamada and Ken Akamatsu went to Visa's headquarters in San Francisco and asked why Visa in Japan seemed to be acting outside of Japanese law and how it was policing content in Japan. I made a video about this in October explaining how Visa was lying when they claimed it wasn't them, and finally, with the continued pressure of Taro and Ken, and the attention of influencers like Asmongold, Visa Japan recently admitted to lying and acting outside of Japanese law. While the crackdowns and often extra legal actions against our industry by companies like Visa and MasterCard continue, the work that Taro Yamada and Ken Akamatsu have done to defend artists and other creators is vital, and that is why they are my pick for Best Girl for 2024. Best Girls? This once again proves that not all heroes wear capes. Next up is Best Art in a Game and Subverse. I know at this point that many of you are certain that this video is sponsored content and I'm just a paid shill. I'd probably think the same thing in your place. Here's the thing. Studio FAO spent millions of dollars in the development of this title. They didn't just make the art in-house either. They outsourced to creators like Thundercloud Studio in Vietnam. Is it fair to compare a multi-million production to an indie game with 1/1000th of the budget? Given that, also check out the art from Love Sucks Night 2. Continuing Annie's year-end Subverse video sponsored by Mountain Dew, we have Best Music in a Game and Subverse. Yeah, it sounds great like a AAA game, however, in a world without Subverse, City of Broken Dreamers and Morningstar would likely have been neck and neck to win this. Both soundtracks are fantastic, and Morningstar's developer, Droid Productions, actually won Best Music for 2021 with Love of Magic. So I do admit that I may be biased in this highly subjective category. Speaking of highly subjective, now we are at my favorite game of 2024, and no, it is not Subverse. It is Romantic Escapades. I had so much fun in this open world adventure where you are isekai'd to ancient China. The art was striking and the cinematics were great. There was also this unexpected combination of flavors, but it did make sense as you unlock the mysteries of this magical land. I loved the farming and the mining and how chill and engaging the story was. In a sea of repetitive and derivative games, this was a welcome breath of fresh air. Romantic Escapades is available for PC on Steam. And finally, we're at Game of the Year. When I first reviewed Subverse in 2021, I was absolutely sure that it was going to be Game of the Year when it eventually finished. However, the most important part of this industry is the flavors and how they blend into the game. It doesn't matter how much money you spend to make gorgeous art, great music, and a compelling story if you can't deliver on the flavors. Instead, the Game of the Year for 2024 is a pixel art, slice-of-life vacation with barely any plot. Why? Because Winter Memories actually delivered the flavors in a way that players wanted. So good, in fact, that the number of people who played Summer Memories on Steam after Winter Memories came out was higher than the number of people who played Subverse in 2024. Flavors matter. Congratulations to Winter Memories, the adult game of the year for 2024. Available for PC on Steam and GOG, and don't forget the patch. There you have it. We are going to continue to see larger budget games emerge in this space as the industry grows. Yes, they will have an advantage, but that doesn't mean that smaller indie developers and studios won't be able to compete. Flavors matter. As long as developers continue to make games based on that reality, gamers who enjoy those flavors will be there to play them. Until next time, no shaming, just gaming.